Hey kids, are you tired of being depressed all the time about misinformation, scandals, and gossip dominating on YouTube?
No!
Do you miss the days when your most trusted media sources had some kind of education or expertise in the topics they cover?
Sure, whatever.
Yes.
Then have we got an offer for you. My good friends at Nebula have assembled a team of educational YouTubers who are putting out exclusive ad-free content, and we're bundling that with thousands of documentaries from CuriosityStream, so you guys can learn how maybe trying to relive the glory of the Roman Empire isn't such a good thing.
Well-
The price for that bundle lands at just under $15 a year for ad-free podcast episodes and bonus content from other educational YouTubers. That deal is at curiositystream.com/dadandsons.
That's amazing.
Bye.
Hello, and welcome back to your regularly.
Reggie.
Oh,
Welcome to the
boy.
show, Reggie.
We're starting off on a good foot.
Yeah, a regular foot.
A regular episode.
Welcome to your regular episode of the regularly scheduled regular podcast.
Are we all doing?
Rat
Are we all
songs.
keeping ourselves regular this week?
My body's not been very regular this week.
Oh yeah, you might have some pooping issues by the sound of things.
Whoa. Whoa, we go straight for the pooping issues.
Well,
It's not like,
that's what regular
he has a
means,
stomach
right?
ache. No, we just go straight for like this.
You might get poo particles all over your play date.
Wait, doesn't the like bidet kind of help you with that when it shoots its soul into your ass?
It does. It's so I don't want to be too gross about it, but
Let's
you know,
loose all that.
if you got like a stomach bug or something, you know, you have to go a lot of times during a day, right?
Right.
Well, I've got to tell you, if you're using a bidet every single time to do that, that's a lot of jet spraying in one certain area quite frequently.
Just lets things loose.
It becomes relatively sore after a while.
Oh no.
The bidet is life's plunger.
It's very helpful. But grossness aside, I'm here. Not 100%, but I'm here. I'm hanging on in there.
I feel like we're bringing new meaning to the term butt hurt here on this podcast.
Oh, on this regular podcast.
Damn, is it really 7 a.m.? It's 7 a.m., guys.
It's
How late is it on you?
it's 11:15 at night, and I've only just finished working and being regular. So,
Well, what about you, George? What time is it?
George,
over
yeah,
there?
George, you tell us how you're feeling.
Yeah.
It's 10 a.m. over here where I'm recording, and I feel great.
It's a normal time. Yeah.
I feel great. Past 2 days, I was waking up bright and early at 7 a.m. Today, I woke up at 4 a.m. for some reason. Don't know why.
Maybe because your sleep schedule is fucked.
My sleep schedule is fucked, but I'm really happy that I did actually get up at 6 to 7 p.m. for at least 2 prior days this week. But yeah, I feel way better than usual. There's some exciting things going on in my life, and I also think might want to thank Bo Burnham for helping me work through some shit. I'll get into it.
I need to watch
But
that.
we were having our prep talk. This might be a week where I'm like the happiest one on the podcast for just this week in particular.
I'm real happy. It's just, just less sleep.
It's early.
It's a little. You gotta give me a second to start the engine. The engine is cold right now.
Yeah, I know Matt has some good things going on, and
a tease,
I mean,
baby.
Liam's in the middle of
blown up.
making a game, and that's its can of worms.
Yeah, man. It's been a can of worms recently, but we're progressing.
Yes.
We're progressing.
I have had an extremely lonely year that might have like manifested into a case of like adult ADHD and depression where there was none before.
But you're going to solve that.
I think so. Yeah. I have some very exciting stuff going on. A friend of mine is about to give me a dog, and that's what you're supposed to do, right?
Therapy
You're
dog.
supposed.
Yeah.
Right. I'm about to get a therapy dog. A good old friend of mine who moved out of town a few years ago is moving back in, so I'll have more people to hang around with in the city. And since all that stuff is happening a few hours after recording, I'm at that like stage of like excitement where you're gearing up for it and getting the butterflies, you know?
Yeah, next week is going to be the true podcast. It's going to be Dad and Sons and Dog and Sons.
I wonder about that. Like is the dog gonna
barking in the background?
Gonna bark? Yeah. They haven't warned me how loud the dog is, but at least it's better than nothing.
Well, does that mean officially one of us has become a dad? Does that mean George is the dad? He's
Oh
a dog dad?
my God, Liam. Whoa, you just blew my mind. Holy shit. George is the first one.
George is the first one.
I haven't had a pet in years.
We always knew he wasn't going to have a child. He was going to have some
Oh,
sort
wow.
of animal kin.
Oh, thanks for that prediction, Liam. That makes me feel all of the like upward spiral I might be getting back into is real support, feeling real supported here.
Oh, you gotta say what type of dog.
It's a Beagle Dachshund mix.
There you go.
And there will be photos in a few hours, but I'm really hoping that they have more Dachshund in them than Beagle, because a Beagle should not live in my tiny apartment.
How you say it's housebroken? So do you have a cage, or it's sleeping with you, or what is your type of dog?
I will find out soon. They said that they're going to give me some of the equipment that they already have lying around for their own dog.
Oh, okay.
So they might have like a spare crate and some spare bowls and spare toys for me. But when I was a kid, my childhood dog would sleep at the foot of the bed with me, and I don't think that was good for it in the long term. Because like if I ever rolled over and suddenly woke it up, it would snap at me. The wildness, the wildlife instincts would kick in, and it would think it was getting attacked in its sleep. Yeah, this beagle would get really pissy if you screwed around with it while it was eating or sleeping.
Oh, that's a training problem.
Yeah. I never really unlearned some of those things. And beagles are high energy dogs that are like supposed to be outside dogs.
That's why you don't feed a dog unless you let them do tricks. You let them wait to eat.
Oh no!
You are the
my
master.
dog. He knew how to sit and wait and stop, but he just would get real pissy if anyone was in like a 3-foot radius while he was eating. He would think he was fighting the pack for scraps at that point.
You're gonna train this one.
In the dog's fairness, I also hate to be bothered while eating and sleeping.
Oh my God! But you're not a dog, Liam. You live in under my roof. You go on my roof.
Your roof.
My roof.
Oh, come on. Now that's a dad joke. That's a dad joke if we have ever made one on this podcast.
We have transcended. You are officially a dog dad. Therefore, Dad and Sons is legit.
Yo, I'm a plant dad. I think
You're
my
plant
plant
dad?
is still living.
Oh yeah?
It's been a couple months. I barely water it, but I got it for that reason.
Well, based on how last week's conversation goes and how the laws in California have recently changed, what kind of plant, Matt?
It's a snake plant. It thrives on neglect.
Less exciting than I thought.
Yeah.
Wait, it thrives on neglect.
Yeah.
You say? Oh,
Yeah,
nice. I thought I misheard that. I was like, wait, what?
It could be in the dark. You don't have to feed it very much. You know,
I wish we could be like that.
You could talk to it. You talk to it when you need it. You know, it's always there for you. You know, one of its leaves might be getting brown, but it's okay. It still has like
that's
5
just
more.
Natural. Yeah, a new leaf will come in and replace. It's like your toenails. You know, you don't keep the same toenails your whole life.
Yeah. You just cut it, let it grow out. Yeah.
I mean, if you're ever tired of a finger, just cut it. Another one will grow back.
Don't do that, kids. Hopefully, kids.
I wish you could, though. That was the thing that like stem cell research was supposed to lead to was regenerating limbs, right? So if you like screwed up one of your fingers, before George Bush and the Republicans in the White House banned stem cell research, we could have been regenerating limbs by now. I highly
really
doubt.
Ban it?
I highly doubt I explained that correctly. It was
okay.
a controversy from like 15 years ago.
It's like, did they really ban research? Is that a thing that happens?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Wow.
totally. There is absolutely a lot of reasons why not to do a lot of research people could be doing because of reasons of ethics and morals and doing
Okay.
more
Oh, it's one
harm
of
than what you
those.
might have ended up. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Because the controversy among the conservative Republicans was that the stem cells that might be able to one day lead to people regenerating limbs, supposedly, according to the rumors, I don't know how true it is, this is just the Fox News talking points,
oh boy.
would have come from aborted fetuses.
Oh, I
And
remember
I don't.
that.
Yeah, again, yeah. It was so long ago, and it was.
Wait,
it
come
was
from
part,
what?
Aborted fetuses.
Oh.
Wasn't it like stem cells from aborted fetuses being injected to
Hmm.
athletes or something?
And like war veterans, invading Iraq over faulty intelligence from the same people who were banning research over things that could help them grow back their screwed up body parts after the war. But anyway,
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things that had some questionable trials and shit like that we use nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's a
Oh, yeah.
ton.
Well, the only reason America was able to land on the moon is because we hired Nazi scientists to build the rockets.
That is true.
There's so much stuff. It's just people don't, most people don't know history. Me included. But every time I hear something new, I'm just like, ugh.
Well, if you sign up to curiositystream.com/Super Bunny Hop, you can learn all of.
We can all gather around while I sing you of Werner von
I
Braun.
wondered how long.
A man whose allegiance is ruled by expedience. Call him a Nazi, he won't even frown. Nazi schmatzi, says Werner von Braun.
You know Nazi songs?
This is from the late great. Oh, I think he's actually still alive. So just the plain old great musical satirist Tom Lehrer, who would get on a piano and sing funny songs back in the 60s about how messed up the 60s were. Some of his songs showed up in Fallout games, I think. But this is a guy from my mother's time who I am bringing up to tangentially talk a little bit about Bo Burnham, in terms of comedy songs throughout the ages. I'm thinking about watching Bo Burnham's Inside with my mom later.
Well, for the third time?
For the third time. Yeah.
Do you like musicals?
I guess now I do.
Yeah.
I've like developed more of a taste over the past couple years, but I also think music just got really good ever since things got really shitty.
No, music has always been good, George.
Well, okay, music in
You're more
general.
receptive to it, but you
Arguably.
found something that connected with you.
Yes.
Right.
That's probably what it
Arguably.
is.
Arguably, from a musical standpoint, there is only one good song in that entire thing. Musically.
Oh my god.
George,
Musically.
you might like fucking. Why am I thinking of Hamilton? Hamilton?
The Disney.
Yeah, Hamilton.
about
You
the-
might like Hamilton.
I might like Hamilton. I might like.
It's history, and the songs are really good. I mean, like that really showed me what musicals can be. And they also made In the Heights, which is like a newer one that came out this year. But I don't know if you'd be too into that one. But Hamilton, you should probably. It's history, dude.
Digestible
And it's good
history.
Maybe I'd be. It's just I don't know if it's going to compare to like the
Of Depression?
the
Depression.
the hard wrecking ball hit
yeah.
that
okay.
is Bo Burnham's Inside. I rewatched it a second time, and my opinion of it actually shot way up the second time. The second time was with subtitles and with a friend. I was able to pay more attention to the wordplay and also react to someone else's mutual reactions to figure out what was resonating with some sort of audience and hitting the other person on the couch with me. But yeah, I cried. I can like count on maybe one finger or one hand the amount of times I have cried as an adult. And on the second viewing of Bo Burnham's Inside, I cried midway through the Funny Feeling song about experiencing cognitive dissonance as a millennial in the era of late capitalism and watching the world go to shit while also trying its hardest to stay normal. That whole like production, both times I saw it, was such a harsh wake-up call. The first time I watched it, the thing that got me was him making suicide jokes and then suddenly harshly cutting to him being like, oh my God, did I just make a suicide joke? The thing that got me this time was that I was watching it with a friend. And for those I am aware that some people listening to this podcast have been able to deduce some details of my personal life that I have not divulged here regardless. But maybe one of the things I'm learning here is that maybe I should be more vocal about my problems because the internet can weirdly be a social support structure as well. I have an extremely shitty social life, and the person I was watching Bo Burnham's Inside with the second time through was an ex. And there's a scene in the first half of this where it shows him recording a song on a keyboard with his laptop, and he switches from happy musical Bo Burnham comedy voice to fucking shit, this stupid piece of shit isn't working, like viciously cursing at the equipment, and then all of a sudden switching back to happy performer mode, and like that stung to be seeing in front of her, because she overheard some of those moments in like my own creative process in the other room. And for some reason, I don't remember my temper and my attention span being that bad when there were roommates in the house. But when there was like a partner in the house, an intimate relationship in the house, and I felt a little bit more of those boundaries of inhibitions and etiquette break down, and a little bit more of the raw emotion come out, there would be those moments where she would be sitting in the other room, and like I would just start yelling at the computer because my editing program was crashing, or I lost a couple hours of work, and like the anger, I'm sure it sounded worse through other people's ears than it did my own, and that was the kind of sensation I got from seeing that moment happen.
I mean, you realized it, and that's kind of like the first step for a lot of things. Yeah, self-reflection. It's kind of needed to grow.
So
if you don't, then you stay the same for the rest of your life, like a lot of people do.
So I felt an incredibly deep connection with this musical, and I want to show my mom and try to connect with her and bond with her over that, and maybe explain some of the anxieties of the generational gaps going on, and how getting so sad and so miserable over comparatively minor issues can happen like that. So I gave Depression Quest a spin.
Oh, this is where it leads to.
This is where it leads to.
Depression.
Yeah, there's
Depression the game. Depression Quest. Okay.
I'm sure Liam knows what Depression Quest is, but Matt, do you know what Depression Quest is?
I never played it, but I know. I know about it. I know who made it.
Of course you do, Liam.
Not personally. I know. Sorry, that came out wrong. I don't know personally. I just know the creator of the game by name. That's it.
I wrote it out ahead of time. So I have a summary that I hope will explain things clearly without getting any of the incredibly morbid baggage here wrong. Depression Quest is the game made by Zoe Quinn.
Oh.
It is the focal point of the core lie of the Gamergate campaign. And that was that a writer at Kotaku wrote a review of this game that would have violated a conflict of interest because of a personal, intimate connection with the developer. That review never existed, and rumors of that review existing spread like wildfire and were uncontested, and the misinformation of that led to a lot of people getting doxxed and harassed and leaving the industry and retiring, or having their dog shot by police officers, or having a plane get derailed from bomb threats. And, for a couple of those days, I got 80 death threats in my inbox and some mysterious phone calls in my telephone. But I've never played the game itself. I've never really bothered that much to look into the game itself.
Yeah.
Because supposedly it's not really that big a deal in the first place. It was more the rumors over whether or not an unethical review of this game was made, and that review never existed. It was a lie to get conservatives to engage in a harassment campaign over 6 years ago.
Yeah.
But it was so bad that I guess it finally took that long to be able to candidly talk about it on the podcast. The incredibly disastrous catastrophic events of the past 2 years, I want to say, have drastically recontextualized the problems of video games to the point where it seems like such a small fry in comparison to things like the coronavirus pandemic and the Capitol insurrection. But yeah, all of that shit may have gradually led up to me developing very, very bad mental health, where I used to be at least okay and functional before and might not have been for a long time now. And so I played this game to see if I would feel some sort of connection to it as deeply as I did with Bo Burnham's stuff. And on another level, the Matt Fury, Pepe the Frog, Feels Bad Man stuff. Oh, feels good, man. But my brain instantly wants to call it Feels Bad Man. And I don't know how I feel about Depression Quest. It seems like it was playing things very safe and coming from a place where it's making a lot of assumptions about the social resources people with depression might have. Your protagonist in this game comes pre-equipped with things like a social circle of friends who care about them and visit them and check in on them. He comes pre-equipped with an opposite sex significant other. They come pre-equipped with dental appointments and doctor appointments they all keep in track with, and a job they show up to work with. And I don't know if that's how it really works. So I finally took a look at that, and it seemed like such a milquetoast, inoffensive thing that I was more shocked that this is what was at the center of Gamergate than I really was at the rather lightweight hit that it gave me in comparison to some other stuff made in recent years. That it was, in a smaller way, it was fairly eye-opening to realize what a bunch of nothing that whole fiasco was over this whole time.
2013.
Yeah. Back in the days, man.
The harassment campaign was late 2014, so this thing had already existed for a year. It was a scapegoat. It was more of a symbol than it was an actual big deal of a product being sold for money on a marketplace that influenced other things as the history would go on later. It feels like quite the relic nowadays. There was a little resurgence of text-based adventure games around those years, thanks to Twine, but Twine really fizzled out since then, didn't it? And I think everyone's awareness of mental health and depression issues have also reached a critical mass to the point where I haven't heard about a lot of people discovering issues about themselves going back to this one in particular. I totally understand the uncomfortable silence here.
No, I just don't know what the game's like. I'm looking at the pictures and I'm just like,
well, because it's text. What? It does not screenshot well. It's all text.
Okay, so there's this video of this woman sleeping or man sleeping is.
It's about spending all day in bed because starving yourself sounds like an easier way to solve the problems than actually doing work.
Oh, just like that. It's like that game everyone likes, that pixel game. Oh, okay.
Mori?
I mean, yeah.
Do you have any idea how little that narrows it down?
Yeah, exactly. It's funny how you got it instantly, though.
The game it's got a character in it.
It's got pixels. It's about mental health issues. The music's sad.
People love that. It's one of those games where people love it. And I'm just like, I can't get through. After 5 hours, I'm just like, all right, I'm done. Maybe I'm not there yet. I need to be there. When I hit like rock bottom. Those every time in your life you hit those emotional roller coaster rock bottoms. Maybe I need to be there and be like, you know what? Now it's time to play Omari. Now it's time to feel all these feelings that the developer was trying to shoot down my eyeballs and ear holes, clear out the wax. You all right, George?
No, I'm not all right. But because I'm thinking of what to say next, and I shouldn't.
That's why I'm getting a dog.
Because honestly, how fucking dangerous and damaging and tone depth would it be to actually criticize Depression Quest in 2021? I feel like I've said I'm at 100% capacity for how much I should be treading the territory here and should move on at this point.
Yeah,
because if we dwell on it, good things aren't going to come out of
I feel like we started off great. We were getting a dog. We were having a great time talking about my bowels, and now we've sunk back into the Ragulia.
Classic, yeah.
So let's bounce back out. Right. Be more positive, George. Come on, there's a game that came out this week that was like entirely
and it's
up
new.
Your alley.
Like Matt doesn't get to shit all over me for playing something older than 8 months. Oh no, George, you always play such old games from 2018.
It's been years since I said that.
It's been like a couple months. All right.
Few
okay. Part
months.
of the reason I'm probably got more energy and hype in me than usual is because I'm making plans to socialize with more people than usual and go outside more than usual. And I actually feel like I'm looking at some sort of motivation and prize at the end of the tunnel that's going to hit me very, very soon. I played a game I also enjoyed, and maybe I was able to enjoy it because of, the change in mood. It's a game that's been recommended me to a lot, right up my alley. I played The Forgotten City. I wonder how surprised anyone listening would be.
A game about Rome? Not really.
Rome! But I also love the fact that it began as an Elder Scrolls thing that turned into a Roman thing. The Forgotten City is a game that, it tickles a lot of the history that got me into games criticism in the first place. Back when I was playing Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas way back, like 2009, 2010, I was in college. I hadn't gotten my degree yet, but there was this scene on the modding community of people who would make walking simulator interactive stories. And some of my favorites were by this mod author who I think has totally fizzled away and didn't keep his career going all these years. But in case you're still playing Fallout 3 in New Vegas, for any listeners out there, look up mods by a guy named Puce, Puce, and then moose like the animal that lives in Alaska. He would make walking simulator narrative storytelling games where a disembodied voice would walk you through some very emotional storytelling that would incorporate your actions as a game player in fun, creative, clever ways. They were not primarily driven by combat, and everyone loved this and was fine with it. In 2014, I think it was 2013 actually, Gone Home came out, and that was really the start of a very, very long downward spiral in games criticism that we may finally be working out of over the past 2 years. But The Forgotten City shares DNA with that scene. It was a Skyrim mod that was primarily focused more on the writing and the acting and the world building and interacting with your environment with buttons that aren't kill the enemy like you do in a lot of Elder Scrolls games. These walking simulator mods would really leverage the amount of interactivity Bethesda gives you for non-combat activities into some very powerful stories. And this was one of them. This won a Writers Guild Award from the state of Australia. So over the past 4 years, they have been putting it into their own commercial product. And in order to not have to get a $30 million license or however much it costs to make an Elder Scrolls game with Bethesda and do that level of professionalism, they decided to set it in ancient Rome, which I also love as well, because that was my own gateway to a fascination in history. When I was a kid and a teenager, I was super duper obsessed with the Elder Scrolls and would walk my dog while reading through printed out pages, because there were no smartphones back then, of Elder Scrolls lore, reading about the antics and the stories behind all the different Daedric gods and how the stars in the Elder Scrolls lore are holes in the sky where the light of other heavenly realms shine through. And then fast forward 15 years later, and I'm a 30-year-old adult learning about ancient Rome and how they believed stars were holes in the sky that the light of the celestial sphere shined through, and that so much of Elder Scrolls lore basically was copy pasted from the real life history books of what ancient Greeks and Romans believed. It is so clever that that's the route they went. And I almost get the vibe that it wasn't just, okay, what's the best option we could use? We could make our own generic fantasy universe ripping on Tolkien and whatnot, or go with the thing Tolkien fantasy was inspired by in real life, and they went with that route. It sounds like it wasn't a lightweight decision so much as they actually either really researched and consulted the history behind here or already had a good, deep passion for it in the first place. You play as a modern day time traveler who gets sucked back in time to an ancient Roman city that is cursed with the curse of the golden rule. If one person in this city commits a sin, then the gods are going to come down and kill everyone in the city.
Do you get to commit a sin? Now, this is what I wanted to ask. Do you get to commit a sin? Because if you don't get to commit a sin, that's not fair.
You don't.
That's not fair. I want to doom an entire city myself.
You are a time traveler who gets to reset a daily time loop in this town. So what you end up doing is a Disco Elysium sort of detective work where you walk around, question everyone, throw points around certain conversation trees to figure out everyone's dark secrets, the frustrations that they all have towards each other, if there are any criminals in the city, what sort of criminal plans might be up to. And you use time travel to cleverly solve these people's problems. And that sounds so creative and innovative, right? But some of the less flattering features of its Skyrim DNA come through with combat that relies on a bow that is not that satisfying to shoot, with some zombie-like NPC enemies who don't count. You can kill them and it doesn't count as a sin. It's even though slowly walking away from a slowly walking zombie, you could just lock in a room.
Are they sinners?
I guess. I mean, they attack you at first sight. It uses video game rules to mean it's not a sin to shoot the NPC enemies. But if you shoot anyone who begins a conversation speaking in English, even if they attack you first, that counts as a sin. So it's a sin to fight back and defend yourself against sentient humans, but not against the AI zombies that, do the video game, I'm going to run directly towards you with no sense of self-preservation sort of thing. But besides that, you're not allowed to inflict violence. You're not allowed to just steal things willy-nilly. You're not allowed to behave like a normal video game protagonist would until you go down into these Skyrim dungeons that maybe they could have just taken out. I don't know. There are some interesting combat puzzles they do with these dungeons that do get your noodle thinking in other interesting ways. But the other thing is that you can get the vibe that this did win a writing award. Since you're playing as a modern day time traveler, your protagonist questions these Romans on everything. As soon as you show up the town greeter is like, "Salve, friend, let me escort you to our governor magistrate." You can immediately get in an argument with him about how barbaric ancient Roman law was. Like, the conversation trees are like, wait, don't you guys practice slavery? Wait, don't you guys give women less rights? Wait, don't you guys depend on a war economy of never-ending wars? To which he responds like, of course, we give our prisoners of war life in exchange for their labor. Of course, our women are entitled to a lifetime of protection from their fathers and husbands. Of course, we have pacified warring tribes from Gaul to Galilee. The Roman Empire is the most civilizing, advanced force in the world. And your character just responds with like, okay, yeah, sure, buddy.
Isn't it like, what is the explanation for the actual time traveling bit?
I don't know yet. I guess I'll have to find out as the story progresses. The central conflict is getting your character back home, and that requires creating a time paradox, which requires solving these people's problems. Because in the beginning of the game, the city is decayed and ruined, and everyone down there apparently died. So you create a time paradox by saving them, and that's supposed to zap you back into the year 2020 again. And I think they actually rewrote a lot of these lines of dialogue in the very last minute of development to account for modern day memes. They talk about the pandemic. Yeah, there is actually a hilarious conversation where these Romans are like comparing quarantine pandemic prevention practices from 2,000 years ago with what your character says they just went through 2,000 years later. It has really, really genuinely been a great game. so far. Like absolutely one of the best I've played in a long time. I am tickled pink by a lot of the stuff I saw, and I am really looking forward to coming back to it again after the next week.
Nice. Is
Yeah.
it based actually historically on a city around?
No.
It's just completely made up.
Yeah, the city in particular is made up. The characters are made up, but there is a lot of trivia. In the beginning of the game, you get to pick like a class and a profession. And if you pick archaeologist, then when you time travel back to this city, there's a whole bunch of like trivia fun facts you can click on. Like when you go to a kitchen, there's just a little interactable in front of the cutting board that explains why the carrots were purple back then. They really did their research on this. They wrote a lot of really clever, cool stuff around a concept that itself is just really cool and clever. And I'm tickled pink. I'm happy. Yay.
Look at you. Excited. Well, I mean, it was like a match made in heaven, really.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I heard the facial animations.
Oh, what?
were-
It's a 3-person team. They've made yeah, the facial animations are bad, but they didn't break my immersion. I mean, you get used to it and learn to excuse it, I guess. But yeah, they're pretty bad facial animations.
It's always funny when the reviewer is in just a better mood. They're more willing to accept weird shit.
Yeah. Like, just ignore that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the.
Yeah. So when everyone in Kotaku or whatever fucking place are in cubicles, getting slaved to play these games over and over and over and over again to write reviews, it's not the best.
Like one of the things that kind of sort
Do you
of
still do cubicles?
no, everyone either
Probably do.
works at home in a fucking gig economy or they rent out a warehouse like Mega 64. The thing that tips the balance of the scales in the other favor is that the environmental art is great. The environmental art is beautiful. It's a real time machine. It looks like you're walking around the sets of the HBO Rome show. Incredibly detailed interiors, beautiful columns of ebony. The interiors.
It's like romanticizing.
Just wait until you look up the etymology of that word and where it comes from, and I'm sure there's dark, violent history behind it. But yeah, it's a gorgeous looking game until the camera Skyrim zooms on someone's face and they start talking. Up until then, though, you're looking at like gorgeous gardens, a gilded white temple town with lines of gold and bronze all over the building. They have like dirty graffiti placed everywhere. One of the characters is gay, and there's a whole bunch of like graffiti in front of their blacksmith shop, and he's blaming it on the degenerate, blasphemous Christian cultists. It's a good time.
Are you gonna go back and play the Skyrim mod and see how?
No,
it compares?
but I am curious to watch some videos on it and see how it compares. Because one thing they really would have had to do is a lot of rewriting to account for the different universe. So I'm wondering how much of a direct translation they made. Yeah, I don't need to play it to find that out, but I am awfully curious to see how much of a direct translation of the original mod script they did to convert the lore from Elder Scrolls lore to Roman Empire lore.
Just word for word changed.
Yeah, Dagoth turns
Just
into Mars.
Yeah, dragon changes to Caesar.
God,
We must slay Caesar.
I am less on top of my Elder Scrolls lore as I used to be. But who's the like sexy hot, the god of sexy hot chicks, the Aphrodite version? I'm sure. Even as a kid, I noticed that god in Elder Scrolls was copy pasted over from every horny teenage boy's favorite Greek goddess. That is, was it Azura? No, Azura's more of a like Athena, Eternal, Mephala, Hercene, Bothia.
Well,
but yeah, Elder Scrolls lore and real life Roman Empire lore. It feels like graduating. I have forgotten one as I've steadily learned the other.
well, boys,
What have you been?
I've watched a ton of movies,
Ooh.
And I've played a game.
DeBella was who I was thinking. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Bella.
She's the Elder Scrolls version of Aphrodite, the goddess of sexy hot chicks.
I've watched The Shape of Water, In the Heights, Boss Level, Chef, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Back to the Future.
You've never seen Back to the Future?
I have, but that's when I was like young, man. That's when I was like in elementary school. I think that's when I saw that.
I saw them for the first time
That's when it came out.
in college, and I thought it was like the perfect summer adventure, fun comedy
It's
adventure
like-
movie. Does it hold up?
A guy I work with loves this movie, so I was like, "Oh, let me watch it again." And it's so strange watching an older movie and how things were done back in the 80s.
How do you mean?
You know, like there's still kind of like that racial weirdness there. It's just like it's like one of those things where it's just like, I don't care about things being woke and shit. Like I don't care, but it's like it still kind of weirds you out just a little bit. You know, you have the black character just coming in and saying stupid shit. Like it's just like, ugh. You know, everything else was.
Yeah. I
It's
might
quite
need a
fun.
refresher on that because, you know, as like a white guy watching it in college that costs thousands of dollars,
Yeah, you
the
don't-
one thing I remember in that movie is the black guy who no one thinks is going to become mayor 30 years later, but then becomes mayor 30. And I
Becomes
wonder,
mayor.
like, is that
Yeah.
really what's offensive nowadays?
No, it's not. It's
There
not
must have
offensive.
been
None of
another
this stuff is
part.
offensive. No, it's not offensive. It's just like it's just that a lot of things that was done back in the days
Oh,
can't be done now. Like,
I just thought
but
of,
it's not in good taste
yeah,
anymore.
how does
though.
he treat his
As well, it hasn't aged well in terms of the racial stuff. Like, it just seems weird for that to happen now. It's not like, you know how you watch a Quentin Tarantino
Like Once Upon a Time in
movie?
Hollywood?
Like, he has a lot of racial stuff in it, but it kind of like, yeah, like a lot of any of his movies.
Oh,
man,
yeah.
there's a movie where he says,
Oh,
the
and he
N-word.
seems
Like, it
he looks
doesn't-
like he's having
like, it
fun
doesn't-
doing it too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Samuel
Yeah, kind
Jackson
of like
and all those people.
masochistically
Yeah,
weirdly,
You know, and-
yeah.
it works because of the way he does it. But like back in the days, this is just like what it was, you know, in the 80s. So it was just so strange to be transported back and seeing how things were like done in movies back then. I've watched a lot of older movies, but it's like it's always a shock.
How
Going
does
back.
Michael J. Fox's character treat his girlfriend? Because I do think I remember a lot of weirdness there that
He's a bit of
Might
a
not
ladies'
have-
man.
aged well.
Especially to his own grandmother.
Yeah, he's a bit of a
'Cause
ladies'
how-
man. And then he gets a little fresh with his mom.
like a lot of old movies.
Oh yeah, his mom, not his grandmother. Grandmother is Fry, right? It's in the Futurama episode where Fry goes back. It's his grandmother.
like even if you go back and watch Empire Strikes Back, like as wholesome and family friendly as a good Star Wars movie is, there's scenes where like Han Solo will have a fierce, bitter argument with Princess Leia, and they look like they hate each other so much. And then all of a sudden, he'll throw himself on top of her and force kiss her. And I'm sure in the 80s, yeah, and like romantic music will play in
Yeah.
the background.
Yeah.
Somehow in the 80s,
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
romantic. But as watching it in modern day, like, how would that have ever worked in
That's
yeah.
also weird.
Yeah.
You hit it like the nail on the head. That's also weird. Every time I go back and watch it, it's race and how they treat women. It's just like so weird how we have like all changed in a society. Not to say what's right and wrong or anything like that. It's just like it's so interesting.
Of course.
like,
The Roman
wow.
Empire is the most advanced civilizing force in the world.
I also watched A Quiet Place too, which was
the first
know.
or the second one.
I've watched the first one, of course, but I watched the second one recently. That one's pretty good. It's pretty good. You gotta love Jim, but you know he knows how to make movies. Pretty dope. But yeah,
He's turning out to be pretty decent at that, right?
yeah, he's pretty good. I mean, the first one was good. It I anything I say about Jim in this one would be spoilers. But yeah, the first scene, which is pretty much free
I
on
wonder
YouTube
what
to
they could
watch,
be.
is probably it's pretty it's pretty good. But yeah, Netflix no chill, you know. If you like musicals in the Heights, if you have a monster fetish
Oh no.
and you want to see sexy time with monsters, but not in your little cartoons, The Shape of Water.
So that's really what it's actually about. I mean, I thought that was a
Monster porn.
meme. I never saw it because I'm a piece of
it's
shit.
monster porn for sure.
Do you like get to see
porn
the
at
monster's
its
dick?
finest. No.
It took you a
They
while
do
though.
talk about it. They do talk about it.
They
though.
talk
They
about
do
the
talk
monster's dick.
They talk about it. Yeah.
So it really is about fucking the lake monster, huh?
Well, yeah, it's more.
Oh, it's more romantic than
And
that.
it-
Is
it's
it about
shot
having
well.
a long-term relationship with the
Oh, it's
lake
definitely.
monster?
It's actually pretty. It actually gets pretty emotional. Like it's actually not bad. It's not just monster porn. Like it's actually
It's monster romance.
like just the way, because she's deaf.
Ah,
The emotion that she brings when she's like doing sign language and people are understanding her and repeating, like it was done really well, really well. But it's so interesting that it's literally a story about her and a monster. So
why did you watch so many movies? Just a movie thing?
I haven't watched movies in a long time, and I decided to download a bunch that I wanted to watch,
Okay.
and then every night roll up a big fat, blunt.
Big fat
I have vape
milkshake.
and
right.
yeah, big fat milkshake, and then enjoy a movie, and it's been good. It's like what I used to do when I was working a lot.
Oh, that's why there's so many of. It's just like a straight up back-to-back marathon at that point.
Yeah, so many. Yeah, I've so many. But yeah, it's been good. Oh, the game I've been playing.
Oh.
Maybe Liam should go first.
Oh, geez, I didn't know we were.
No. Totally go ahead. I mean,
Three Houses.
I've tried three as in Fire Emblem Three Houses.
So I was looking for a Persona fix, you know, because
Yeah, you
know,
mentioned that.
I was itching a little bit, you know. I was just like, oh God, I need to play Persona, and I didn't want to get Royal because I don't want to fucking play on my PS5. I mean PS4. I wish I had PS5, and I wanted to play on PC. I just want to play on the fucking PC. So I'm waiting to see if P5 Royal comes out September, when they have that like anniversary shit.
Oh yeah,
or they start to have their
Persona,
anniversary shit.
Yeah.
Because it's like a year long or something like that. So I heard that Three Houses is like Persona, you know, just different setting. Tried it out.
And
Went to the
takes
store.
place in a school.
Takes place in a
Yeah.
school.
Or went to the GameStop.
Oh no!
Used some leftover credit I had
You
from
went-
like a year ago.
GameStop.
You're
Damn.
increasing the
Yeah.
stock price, aren't you? It's all
Yeah.
you're a market manipulator.
Sold some NFTs to buy his GameStop stocks. I mean, Fire Emblem
Shonks.
stocks.
I would never sell my NFTs for fucking GameStop stocks. I don't do meme stocks. But
I love
like,
us like just quickly and seriously. You said that. No, babe, I don't do meme stocks.
I do not do.
I'm into
meme
that
stocks.
serious business.
I do JPEGs. No,
I don't do meme stocks, just regular memes.
yeah, just regular memes.
I don't do
Yeah.
JPEGs. I do monkeys.
I,
Sorry,
Fire Emblem.
No. Oh yeah, they ask for reservations, and do I want to sign up for a membership at GameStop?
Oh,
and
they
all that.
still do that?
Oh, dude, they hound you, like, and
guess they have to
protection
make
on it.
money.
I was just like, why do I need a protection on the fucking fucking cartridge?
In case you lick it too much.
Yeah, like this shit goes into my game and it goes right into the case if I'm not using
And
it.
then into your mouth for
Apparently I'm
storage.
gonna fumble with it and it's gonna drop into my Mountain Dew or some shit like that. Like no, dude. But yeah, it has voice acting everywhere.
It does?
Which is a plus. Like everything has voice acting, which I did not expect for a Nintendo game. It does a lot of things well. It is basically school Persona, olden days school Persona.
Kind of.
It doesn't have the same emotional pull as Persona, though. It's not the same. It's the same formula, and it has its own twist and its own interesting characters. But it's hard. I shouldn't compare anything to Persona. At least the new games. Those games go a little hardcore with their
Yeah.
their stories, and I think mostly because it's also a little bit more modern than olden days and magic and horses and shit like that.
Shooting yourself in the face to summon demons.
Oh, in part 3, yeah.
The Invoker.
But I enjoy the combat. I enjoy a lot of things are done well. There's not much to say about it. To be honest, it's Fire Emblem, but you can talk to everybody.
You can. What house did you choose?
Come on, you know what house I chose.
The bad one.
Did you choose the Nazi lady?
Yeah, of course. Black Eagles. Yeah,
of course you did.
Everyone chooses Black Eagles.
Wait, are they
Well, yeah, because
are they evil or something?
To be honest, all of them sounded so generic that I just went with Black Eagle. She sounded like the most arrogant and stuff, and seemed to have a better
has the
storyline.
most interesting story out of the three. I think
'Cause,
between her and
Dimitri and all them.
So
Yeah,
I chose Dimitri.
he seems so plain to me, but I'm pretty sure it
He
changes
gets
later.
Pretty dark.
That's interesting.
It does get.
I can't wait
dark.
to. It gets really intense later on.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it gets really intense. I think what I like the most about this is that it all works together. You spending hours getting all these lost items to give it back to them to raise their heart level with you, their support level with you and shit like that. All that helps in battle. And you're not just playing with random people. You have these people that you talk to back at base and everything like that. And it adds this layer of oh, this guy who has this storyline, I don't want this guy to die. Or this guy has a lot of support. They had some good conversations together. I have this own storyline in my mind for this couple. I'm going to push them this way. They worked good together.
Yeah.
It's just it adds this layer, and the way they do you can add armies to those units so they can have backup, and you can some of them are healers. There's so many combinations, and then you can add another character under that character that will also give them a buff. They keep adding different ways to kind of have the combat be satisfying other than it just being a strategy game. It makes you want to do the battles and level up all of them and have all the supports up and stuff like that.
How do
It's
you
satisfying just steamrolling people.
Yeah, that's what I like about Fire Emblem. When you just one hit people, when it goes into the battle
That's
mode,
the best.
I think the battle system is pretty slick. How do you feel about the battles and stuff?
I definitely like being able to see them attack each other.
Yeah.
And all the characters being real characters. Because at the last Fire Emblem I played, everybody wasn't real, like an actual character. Some of them were just units that had no name. Thief and blah blah blah. That's the last.
Which
time I
one
played
was
Fire
it?
Emblem. I think it was Awakening. I think it was Awakening. I can't remember. I know your main character had the cutscene, but I don't know if the rest of them did.
No, Awakening was the start of this Persona style trend.
Yeah,
and
this one's a full.
I played
full
one a little
thing.
after Awakening, and they did the thing where you saw the characters slap each other on the battlefield.
Yeah.
It sounds like what you're describing with this one, and I've wanted to play this one because I love Fire Emblem combat. But yeah, the tropiness of Japanese teenagers in a Japanese school is generally my lesser favorite part. But I still really enjoyed the one I did play a couple years ago, Shadows of Valentia.
Some things are tropey. So, some characters are tropey, but not all of them, surprisingly. I would say it's not really relatable. A lot of the stuff that they talk about.
Yeah.
You know, there's like this Dorothea. She seems pretty cool and they're well put together, but she's like trying to marry, you know, into money. Like it's just like it's not relatable to most people who are gonna be playing this game. Like a lot of their problems, it's like olden problems, but it is interesting.
Ye olde
kind of
problems.
you know, yeah, you know, because she's not
Oh,
a
no, be
noble.
careful.
She's not noble. She wants to become a noble, and then that whole storyline of, you know, who's a noble and what their responsibilities are and all this type of stuff. And it's just like some of it is kind of just like, it's not all great. Like in Persona, everything has like, it's a story with that character. Like, and you are the one doing it. And there's no, but you know, there isn't a story between each character like in Fire Emblem, which is actually pretty kind of dope too.
Who are you?
They all talk to each other. They all like, it's nuts.
Who are you spending
all
a lot of
cutscenes.
time with? Who are you
Who's
trying to?
your Petra's your waifu?
Petra. I like Petra.
There you go. Man's got taste. Man's
Fire
Yeah,
got
dude.
taste.
Fucking Petra. And
Petra-
she's fucking strong in fucking battle, dude.
Petra is the best girl.
So
Is the best girl.
what drew you to her? What quirk or feature? What aspect of her?
She's more normal than everybody else.
she's
you
kind of
know?
funny as well. She's meant to be
Yeah.
like the foreigner
Oh.
who doesn't
Yeah, she's the
understand
foreigner.
So maybe
the ways of
Maybe-
your
so
civilized
you and
people.
her have a little bit in common, huh?
Yeah, 'cause I'm kind of like a foreigner here. So, dude, East Coast people going to the West Coast, you might as well be a foreigner, dude. Like, you think completely different from these Californians.
I don't know, man. You've been to Japan and back, though. That's
Are we going back?
we should be.
Really?
I mean,
Soon.
the fucking.
Let's hope.
They were supposed to open, and Austin didn't get to go back. Yeah, it's a fee fucking asshole. I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask about the most critical, important, vital feature of this game and all games in general. Of course, let's all be honest here. How much did it detract from your experience and make you absolutely positively break your immersion and dock points on your review score when you saw the lazy fucking developer quality of the fruit and Fire Emblem Three Houses? I just want to point out what
it
a
is pretty
travesty against gamers and
It is
to
pretty bad.
not have better quality
is-
fruit in 2000, what was it, 19 or 20?
If you're
Refund.
playing in that tiny ass little screen of the Switch,
How
there's no
dare
way you
you.
notice any
Oh,
of that.
opinion
Like, this shit's
invalidated.
fucking tiny. Yeah, like if you now if you're blowing up that image on the TV, oh god, get ready to vomit. Get rid of the
As soon as you see the
edges and
fruit,
the
your
fucking-
dinner just comes straight out, doesn't it?
all of a sudden it's looking like some of the empty spaces when the characters are not there look like a fucking VR, old school VR game with just big empty halls and shit, big fucking
You
squares,
see,
and shit. Textures looking flat as a motherfucker.
Oh,
and-
it's
and,
wrong.
and we just want to be advocates here for the fruit. I mean, really, the fruit is the victim of all the abuses in the video game industry.
Dude, like, listen, it has a hard enough time loading in people. All right, you know what I'm saying? Like, it shit stutters when it's trying to load up people because you could like just fast travel everywhere, which is great.
Well,
by the way.
obviously,
They streamline a lot of these
all
things.
the polygons the fruit is taking up are slowing things down because they didn't optimize their fruit. Game developers, come on, what
Oh,
are they
did.
thinking?
They did. They made it 2 pixels.
Yeah,
That's
they,
why it looks like
they
that.
optimized it into the ground.
Yeah, dude.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's not Mario.
So how many hours in do you think you're gonna finish it?
Mario.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I did pause for the last day. I didn't play it yesterday, but I'm like 30 hours in. It's just
Damn.
like- the thing is,
you passed the time skip then.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I heard that was a thing, so it's not too much of a spoiler.
Yeah,
But, like,
no,
yeah,
it's not. It's I think it was in the trailers. You know,
Yeah.
there's a point where they grow up a bit.
yeah, which is actually pretty interesting. So yeah, I think I'm close though to that. So the thing is, I've done every quest, every side quest. I've done all the lost items and shit like that. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm doing this, Liam. I should just because I want that Persona feeling, and that's what I do in Persona. I get everything. I get all the soul links, dude, in Persona. Like I can't.
Persona's its own special little thing, you know. It's got that reputation. You can't.
I'm gonna have to just drop it and just finish the game, because it's not gonna be as rewarding.
I think the story of Three Houses as a total is pretty intriguing. I think
it's good.
Yeah.
I'm doing a disservice by constantly comparing it, but I'm literally playing it just because I can't play Royal right now.
I mean, that's the thing. No, I think a lot of people, do compare it to Persona because that's exactly what they've gone for.
Exactly what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's fair to be able to compare it to Persona.
But it is what I'll say is it's a good game. If you like Fire Emblem, you should probably play this. This is probably the best it's been.
You think so?
And I used to play Fire Emblem back in the Game Boy Advance days.
Damn.
Yeah, this is probably the best it's been. Like there's so much to do, and if you want to get sucked into like people's lives.
Oh wow, yeah, those review scores are very, very high.
You can fish. You can do the choir. You can eat meals with your people,
like the fruit.
like the fruit. Yeah, there's like its own thing, and you can always walk around and see what they have to say about what's going on in the world. Like it's a whole thing. They did a lot of work. They did a lot of work on this game. Holy shit! Like it's pretty fucking nuts. I would say definitely give that a shot. I gotta beat it. I gotta beat it, man. I have to see what happens.
Good stuff.
But yeah.
I mean, I've been trying to carry on playing Skyward Sword, and I start enjoying it because it's in 60 frame Zelda, and then there's a moment just where I have to throw a bomb or I have to do something that requires precise input, and the button controls just
shit the bed.
Are garbage. They're just garbage. So I'm kind of like wrestling with that because I actually do kind of enjoy the game when I'm getting into it. It's kind of nice to be playing linear Zelda again and in 60 frames, and it's nice to play handheld. But they fucked it. But that's fine. But I did pick up a new game that surprised me and came out of nowhere.
He's playing a furry game.
Oh no! No!
You're playing a furry game.
Whoa!
The artwork is so beautiful that it took me a while to notice they were fucking furries.
Don't out me. We've already had my bowels in this one. Don't out me.
We don't need more coming out of Liam.
I'm not a furry, but I was surprised.
Not that it would be a bad thing. Of course. Right. Yeah. No.
I just happen to not be one. Or interested. That was the reason I picked up this.
I have some
Liam likes the
very
hair,
good furry friends who I don't want to offend here.
No offense taken to that
to Liam,
but with all due respect, before I noticed the fur, good Lord, look at the shading, look at the lighting, look at the detail.
Yeah, so
and the composition.
So this game's super interesting because it's like come out of nowhere.
Yeah, this looks like it has too high production values for us not to hear about it more.
Well, it's because it's not an indie game or made by anybody in the West. It's by CyberConnect 2, which is a huge Japanese developer, right? But it's
not CyberConnect 1.
No, CyberConnect 2. You probably know them for making stuff like all of the Naruto Ultimate Ninja games. They made.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I'm looking at the list.
They were
all the games I don't play.
They were originally making Final Fantasy VII remake before.
Really?
Square took it back. Yeah, they were originally ones making it. They're making the new Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba game. But they've been essentially famous for making anime 3D action games for a long time. Not specifically fighters, but that kind of weird battle arena style ones that you get, like the Naruto games. They also did the JoJo games and stuff like that. Anyway, famous for doing anime stuff. The Office is also famous for having like a giant anime collection, one of the biggest in Japan.
Really? That's
anyway,
fun quirk.
But what is interesting is it's a game called Fuga, Melodies of Steel, and it's their first self-published title.
So
So they developed it and they published
everything
it.
they've made before was like a license of someone else's IP.
Yes, or was, funded by another company or was in, cahoots with somebody else, blah, blah, blah.
And they've been around since like 1996. I'm seeing they changed their name from CyberConnect to CyberConnect 2 in September of 2001.
Yeah, so I believe, I'm not 100% sure on what the background was, but there was like a design competition in-house, like in the studio. So they had essentially a glorified game jam.
They made Azura's Wrath.
Yes, they did. Yes. Azura's Wrath, one of the best games they made for Capcom. Yeah. They've helped Capcom on a load of things.
So it's not all. Licensed.
Not really, but mostly. But anyway, this one is like their first self-published title, right? So they've obviously funded this in-house, developed it entirely, not working with a publisher, not working with a PR company. It's had a worldwide release, considering it's a Japanese game, they've localized it and they've released it worldwide at the same time. Started out as an in-house game. People, I guess, banding together to make something. It happens quite frequently, but not very often at Japanese developers, surprisingly. Anyway, come out of nowhere, took a look at it, and whoa, as George has mentioned, looking really good, right? Minus some aspects that some people might be more fond of than others. All of these characters, which I will say they are children, and I don't mean that derogatory. The characters in this game are supposed to be children. That is a main part.
The description says.
Yes, they are anthropomorphic dogs and cats who are children, right? And the game takes place in basically World War II. If you've ever played Valkyria Chronicles in that alternative World War era, this is the same. So it's essentially...
I just saw their version of Hitler.
Yes, now. Whoa, hang on a second. Let me get on to the fun stuff.
Oh, okay.
So essentially... So Fuga is basically set in this village, and then it's destroyed by these fascists called, I kid you not, the Burman Empire.
Nazi schmatzi.
They are Nazi dogs. It's amazing. They are but
because Doberman.
Burman. No, Burman, German, but Burman, Doberman.
Yeah,
because the dogs are Doberman dogs.
So he's not a Rottweiler.
It's and the big chief is called Pretzel. That's pretty funny. But essentially, the village gets attacked. These children, run away from the village, end up in this secret forbidden cave they're not supposed to go in, and they find a giant mecha tank called the Tarnis. I wonder where they got that kind of name from. So the Tarnis is this huge, giant, old tank that can destroy anything. And so what happens is, and this is where the game gets really interesting because it's not really a JRPG, like you're probably thinking. It is almost like a roguelike where there is a random path on each mission, and the tank just moves from left to right, like on an autopilot, between each of these, and it is exactly like a roguelike map, like battle, pick up health, choose a path, battle, get AP, and it is exactly like a roguelike. If you look at any screenshot, you'll see in the top corner, at the top of the screen, there is a UI path, like a high-res UI path. It is all the game is this tank moving from left to right, and then you fight in these almost turn-based battles, kind of. There's a lot of almost Advance Wars stuff about it in terms of the actual face-offs.
Line in the middle of the...
Yeah, line in the middle, enemy tanks, but the way it works is that you have these gun slots on the tank, these different gun turrets, and you put children on the gun turrets.
Yay!
It gets even better. So you put the children on the gun turrets, and Matt, if you like Persona, you have to do some social links between the characters to level them up.
Classic.
So you sit two kids on one gun turret, and their skills will affect that gun turret. Making it a grenade launcher or making it like a piercing rifle or something.
Pissing rifle.
And then enemies have weaknesses, and you try to combine those. The battle system is kind of like an ATB system, and you delay enemy attacks by hitting their weak points. Yada yada yada. It's all very interesting. Now, the TARDIS houses a super weapon called the Soul Cannon. So bearing in mind, these are children. These are children. And in the intermediate, intermissions between these roguelike paths that you walk on, you have to go talk to all the other kids. I think there's 12 of them. And, you meet them and you do the social links and you gain these skills and you become friends with them. You grow your bonds and whatever. Now, the Soul Cannon. So in some instances, I've only had one of these instances, I think. So in some instances, basically, it's like an unwinnable battle, and you must use the Soul Cannon to survive the battle and move forward, right? So the Soul Cannon is basically capable of immense destruction. It's a nuclear bomb.
Oh my God.
Now, guys, now, let me tell you how you use it. You must choose to sacrifice one of the children's lives to feed them to the Soul Cannon so you can fire the Soul Cannon.
So you just stick the kid in the tube.
You must actually sacrifice the child. And the child's gone, dead, for the rest of the game. You must sacrifice the child. One of the 12.
Oh my God.
And bearing in mind you use this cannon more than once. You sacrifice... And depending on the order, I think depending on the order of who you sacrifice and who's left, changes the outcome of the game and the different endings and stuff like that. I think there's 12 chapters. So you feed one of these furry children to the Soul Cannon. And it's have you ever watched Home Alone? The incinerator in the basement. You know how he's scared of it. It kind of looks like that. It kind of looks like the incinerator from Home Alone. And
what the fuck?
You feed the child in, and then you get this most amazing cinematic of this giant cannon. And I mean, overboard giant cannon firing this huge purple blast, annihilating everything in its path like a giant nuclear bomb. It is pretty amazing. And the game goes out of its way to make sure that they are children and you are sacrificing children. If you watch the trailer, it's amazing because there's a moment where it's all good, blah blah blah, and then towards the end of the trailer, they're you must sacrifice a child for the cannon, and then this picture that has all of them starts to fade the characters out depending on the order you've used them.
I feel like there's a lot to unpack here. This is very Freudian.
Fuga. It's okay. It's okay. I haven't really got too in deep on it yet, and it is stunted. It's interesting to see a Japanese developer doing a self-published game to a scope. It definitely is not a JRPG. Don't expect this huge game. You are literally just in a tank going through auto stages and then doing turn-based battles. It's very polished, as George said, and it's kind of funny, I could already tell. On the Switch, doesn't run very well because it's Unreal Engine and they have not optimized it very well. When the rain and the effects are happening and stuff like that, it is pretty rough. But I think it's on everything. It's on Steam. It's on PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, all those things. So it might run better on those. It's interesting to see them dipping their toes into Unreal Engine. Supposedly, it's going to be the first game in a trilogy called the Trilogy of Vengeance.
So there's supposed to be 2 more games where you absolutely positively put these children through hell and sacrifice a few of them along the way to stop.
So cool.
Doggy Hitler.
Wow.
And it's just kind of come out of nowhere. And, fair play. Fair play. It's from CyberConnect 2. Good to see them doing, they're always happy to see Japanese developers spreading their wings and trying new stuff. And also, the Metacritic for it is 89. So it's reviewing pretty well. So who knows? Maybe killing children is the way to go to get a good Metacritic score.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is pretty good so far. And the writing is okay. It's as you'd expect. There is all of the characters Some of the characters have voices out of the 12, but it's more like, reaction stuff to text boxes. But there's one tiny, like atypical Japanese little girl character who is meant to be like your little sister kind of thing, your imoto kind of thing. And she's like, Oni-chan! And like really high-pitched, horrible voice.
Boy.
Like that, a very atypical, tropey Japanese little sister type character that gets really annoying. There's no English voices though, but happily surprised by it. Came out of nowhere. I'm not a furry, but I do like sacrificing furries to my giant cannon.
To my giant cannon.
To my giant
And here we are
Sacrifice the furries to my
in
giant cannon.
2021 where the furries are being redeemed with
I like that we live in a world where I can openly say, without fear of hatred, that I am
Enjoying
happy.
these furries.
I can
okay.
I can sacrifice my furry characters to my giant soul cannon.
even though furries are being redeemed with stories of companionship and
George, that better
activism.
That better be the title.
Activism, not Activision. Activism, not Activision. Activism, not Activision. Okay, sorry, my vocabulary got a little scrambled there because of recent events.
This better be the title of the episode, George.
You got it, Chief.
Sacrificing furry children to soul cannons. We'll see what kind of SEO work that will be.
Cannons. There we go. It's plugged in. It's gonna happen.
It's ready to go. Hot off the presses.
Yeah, my brain was scrambled just now because I'm sorry. Are we okay to go to news?
Let's go to the news.
I have had the word Activision floating in and out of my brain holes way too much.
I wonder why.
But also to a strangely satisfying, gratifying degree. Over the week since we recorded last episode, a shitload of updates have happened on the Activision Blizzard lawsuit scandal from the state of California. Kotaku is doing like actual investigative reporting, tracking down the people named in the lawsuit, putting out cold calls for stories from people of Activision, following them up. They got to find out what the deal is with the Cosby Suite in one of their BlizzCon hotel rooms, and got a hold of some conversations that these developers apparently posted publicly on Facebook, where they were saying things like, oh, we're bringing over the hot chicks for the Cosby Suite. You can't marry them all. Oh, I'm sorry, you misspelled fuck. There's some quotes in these stories about whether or not the joke behind calling this meeting room full of booze the Cosby Suite was based on Cosby's history of sexual assault or not, because this was happening in 2013 before he was officially charged and convicted. At that time, it was more of an open secret than it was like accepted fact everyone knew. So some of the staffers apparently thought that the joke about the Cosby Suite was about how it kind of looked like one of his ugly sweaters. But at the same time, it sounds like it primarily was not exactly used for anyone to be sleeping in, even though they were making those kinds of jokes about it. So that's like probably the least alarming thing on this really long list. They dug up a story where in 2015, some Blizzard recruiters were telling an interested applicant some very bad sex jokes. This was at a Black Hat hacker conference in 2015, and a woman named Emily Mitchell, who is an IT security researcher, had a t-shirt with a joke printed on it called Penetration Expert, in reference to some sort of computer internet security term called pen testing, in which you are I suppose, not an expert myself, but testing how well your client's network can be penetrated by outsiders. And in the first part of the conversation, in which she was genuinely interested in maybe working for Blizzard, apparently they replied by first asking if she was lost. Another one said if she was at the conference with her boyfriend. And then they started asking her a whole bunch of jokes about whether or not she likes being penetrated, and how often she gets penetrated, and when was the last time she got penetrated.
Wait, what?
And then Michelle told Vice Waypoint I was furious and felt humiliated, so I took their free swag and left. Next up, they dug up a story from 2018 where a QA manager got arrested, convicted, pled guilty, and served a sentence because he set up spy cameras in the bathrooms of one of their QA facilities.
Oh, boy.
I mean, that is just...
On the other flip of the coin, there is some like really surprisingly good video game journalism going on past few weeks. This is uncharacteristic of what I think people were expecting from a post-Schreier Kotaku board. They shuffled around their board of editors, maybe released some stuff that was more controversial last week than it was this week, but I'm really impressed and a little bit proud of what I've seen the game journalism world do with fallout from this lawsuit happening. The current events going on right now, this is something that's going to be changing every single day. So whatever we're saying and reporting on and commentating on right now for purposes of prosperity is happening on Wednesday, August 4th, because by the day, something new is going to go on. Within like hours after recording last week's episode, Bobby Kotick issued a statement. The employees planned a walkout. A few days later after that, they started organizing into what they are calling a coalition. Point of clarification, a coalition is not necessarily a union. The reason why these journalists are not using the word union is because by the definition of the word, a coalition is something that is supposed to tackle more temporary short-term issues at one company in particular instead of more permanent issues from an entire industry of multiple companies. They organized a walkout. The company was able to get convinced to pay them for paid time off to spend the day walking around the campus holding picket signs. They're doing this in protest to the sexual harassment and assault and the HR frat boy culture that let it perpetuate for so long, but also because of some of the choices being made with the law firm Activision Blizzard is hiring to tackle this problem. They are using a firm called WilmerHale investigate and address the allegations of as brought forward in the state lawsuit. WilmerHale is a law firm that has a history of busting up unions. They were heavily involved in a lot of actions that Amazon employees were trying to organize with over the past year of 2020. If you heard stories like a Prime Day walkout or strike and how you weren't supposed to order things from Amazon on Prime Day, and I cynically wonder how well that turned out. But WilmerHale was there to try and make sure the employees keep pissing in their bottles while putting together packages on the assembly line.
Damn.
It's WilmerHale has a lot to do with their lawyer at Activision Blizzard, Francis Townsend, who was previously working for the Bush administration during the Guantanamo Bay prisoner torture scandal. If you guys remember from back in the Iraq War years, the term enhanced interrogation technique, as it turns out, that was her. She evidently played some role in proliferating that term as being the legal defense that these soldiers were using to like force their prisoners to strip naked and shock them with car batteries and beat them with canes and take pictures of it.
Where does Bobby Kotick find these people? It's like...
They're everywhere, man. Sadly.
But they're all like who was the other guy who joined Activision recently? Like
Grant Dixon, the chief legal officer, is another former Bush associate. He was an advocate for some of the surveillance programs going on that Edward Snowden would reveal later in the Obama administration, and then basically be exiled to live the rest of his life in Russia. Grant Dixon, one of the people who would like establish the legal defense for the NSA to be able to spy on people's internet history, is now also a lawyer working at Activision. Chief legal officer is his title. Like, it's so incredibly bizarre to read the history behind people involved in video games here until maybe you think that the big moneymaker video game here is Call of Duty, and there are some very nasty connections with the military-industrial complex and them doing things like hiring Oliver North to promote other games. But that's actually a whole different can of worms than you know, having this company culture where people evidently get so so incredibly fucked up to the point where there's troublemakers around the office installing bathroom spy cameras. There's a lot of requests among the walkouts for these people to resign. What ended up happening instead is that some other bad bosses ended up resigning. One of the bosses frequently named throughout the lawsuit was J. Allen Brack. The other one was Alex Forsabi, but he already resigned a couple years ago. But J. Allen Brack resigned between the last two podcast episodes. They're
resigned
under pressure, I'm sure, with a big package of millions of dollars.
Somehow conveniently resigned just before the investors call.
And I can't believe that like Alex resigned during the investigation too. They all knew it was coming. It feels like at this point. J. Allen Brack resigned. One of their heads of HR. Did I even put this down on the outline? Their senior vice president of HR also resigned. They are going to be replaced by, I did.
You did a better job
Jesse
than they
Meshek. A guy in charge of the HR department that wasn't solving anyone's problems resigned as well. The two current co-leaders of Blizzard are a 18-year-old company veteran named Jen O'Neill and a 20-year-old industry veteran who previously worked at Microsoft Xbox named Mike Ibarra.
Fuck yeah, Jen O'Neill.
And that might sound...
She knows what the hell... She knows
but bringing in the cynicism is a take from Jason Schreier, where he believes that this is actually going to be more of a power grab from Bobby Kotick to get more argumentative executives out of his way for whatever direction he wants to take Blizzard in.
Well, that could also make sense. I mean, Blizzard seemed to be fairly autonomous, right, from Activision. But
he has a timeline about how that independence may have steadily been fizzling away over the past 2 to 4 years.
Well, it's interesting because Jen O'Neill, she was the head of Vicarious Visions, right? And they were just purchased by Activision. And they're the people who made like the Tony Hawk remake and the Crash Bandicoot one. They were on the up recently. So it's amazing to see.
Well.
She just, her studio was just purchased, and now she's the head of Blizzard. I'm not really sure how much of a Bobby Kotick like underling she would be, but it does seem like if he's putting these people in place, then maybe very, very. But then again, like the management had to go. They had to go. Look at the failings that have happened under their guidance and their watch as, the management of the company.
Absolutely. But ultimately, I mean, it's not a best case scenario, ideal solution to still have a lot of these like Bush administration torture defenders up there still, as well as like Bobby Kotick himself. Like this.
How do you, surrounding yourself with these people, it's just, what do you think people's image of you is going to be?
How does Bobby Kotick meet them? Like, how does that social connection start?
Money.
Like, he had to look them up from a phone book or something, or did they go to the same parties or something?
Didn't he donate to the Conservative Party as well?
I would not be surprised. Yeah, that's I think one of the other dimensions to the story people have been highlighting about how, like, if you survey the political persuasions of most of Activision's employees, it's something like 4 out of 5 on the liberal democratic side of the spectrum. And then you have this small, let's say maybe 1% of Activision at the tippy top who have the exact opposite political persuasions because they don't want to pay taxes.
But fair play to the Blizzard staff members who did the walkout.
Oh, yeah.
It was huge numbers as well, and lots of support across game dev Twitter and just game dev in general.
I felt like one of the sickos in the window watching this, just like gritting my teeth and being like, yes, because they are growing some teeth here with these walkouts in the coalition, and I am wondering if this might be the final straw. I was a little iffier on it last week, but this week I do feel more optimistic that this might actually be the catalyst that leads to a more vibrant union showing up in the United States. I think in the UK they had a GMG form a few years ago, and we're overdue for that here.
Unionization.
So how's it going to feel playing Activision Blizzard games in the future, guys? Are we just gonna be unable to block all these horrible
When was
news
the-
stories out of our brains?
When was the last time you played Warzone, George?
I want to say about a year. Like Hunt Showdown absolutely fizzled it out of my interest, but I still did get into it
did.
for a good while there, didn't I?
Matt, you played a little bit as well, right?
I've never exactly been a fan of the Blizzard games, but I have gone on and off of Call of Duties over the years. But as I grow older, I really just like don't know if I can look past all the America problems that are becoming more and more visible every single year, and how visible they are in Call of Duty games.
Yeah, I have a friend who has been, he's had a World of Warcraft subscription ongoing since.
Oh shit! Did he change?
So he's had it for a while, years and years and years, and he's a huge fan. And Blizzard's games are what got him into the industry. And I think he's canceled his subscription, but he was talking about it was a really serious moral dilemma for him to keep it going and giving them money. But the worst part was that, he got into the games industry because he was so inspired by Blizzard games. And, he feels incredibly horrified by what's happened, but also let down that people who create such wonderful games can be such horrible people.
And see, that is one aspect of being a tortured soul in AAA I can painfully relate to. It's like that feeling of reading stories like, oh, game developer photographs a corpse in the woods and laughs about it. Oh, AAA game. Yeah, let me rephrase that. AAA game executive goes on a racist tirade about FBI crime statistics. I feel that. Ooh,
Yeah. Maybe another example of can you separate the art from the artist?
Matt, you've been a little quiet. What's going to be going through your mind next time you go through a good old sitting of Warzone?
No, I don't play that shitty ass game.
So that's where we're at.
Fucking hackers. Dude, it's just like I can't even play an online game anymore without hacking everywhere. At least in Hunt, you could kind of beat the hackers, if you get your shots lined up. But Jesus, man, most of these online games are just fucking riddled with it.
And
Warzone is one of the worst.
And now it's bleeding over into console.
And I hate their practices. If any, I used to try to get the free, but ever since the free bundle shit, where you go to their store and you get free skins every once in a while, you click free bundle, and it takes you to another bundle where you have to pay money, right? And sometimes you just double click, and if you double click, you end up spending money you don't need to spend.
Fuck that.
For no reason, because it automatically switches the bundle. So imagine if you wanted to get a free potato chips from the machine, right? And you put in the number to click OK, but before you click OK, it switches the one that you entered in to some other
an asshole vending machine
that's not free, and automatically sucks in the money from your wallet using a vacuum from the vending machine. That's exactly what happens. It's so I don't know, man. I fucking despise that game. But no. I mean, if the game's good, I might give it a try.
Can you separate the art from the artist, Matt? I think you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
There might be some hidden file of a game developer screaming somewhere in the disc, burnt into the archives.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit different when it's a multi-conglomerate corporation. I don't think you can really say that's the artist.
I don't know. I'd still feel bad about material.
No, that's what I mean. It's worse.
Worse. Oh.
When Diablo 2 Resurrection comes out, I'm playing that game.
You're gonna do it? You're gonna cross the picket line?
Oh yeah, I'm playing that game.
Well, hang on. Let me ask another question. Are you going to sail the high seas to get a hold of that game? Or are you going to get on Steam, take the credit card out, type in your security code?
Yeah, well, it's not gonna be on Steam.
Beam, the Blizzard version.
But yeah, I'll get on BattleNet.
Oh well, wonder what the.
Buy that.
Don't read the comments. I have a.
Yeah. The same people leaving stupid ass fucking comments on this video talking about why would you buy this game?
Before we go down
Are
that
they
road,
the same? Are
I
the same people who are gonna buy the Diablo 2?
I have a lightweight story to cap us off. Something a lot more fun than bathroom cameras. And that is the gamerification of McDonald's. They were going to do they were thinking of, and then someone prematurely released materials saying they were going to do a giveaway of some modded PS5 DualSense controllers. On July 31st, Australian McDonald's announced that it would give away 50 special edition McDonald's PS5 DualSense controllers, painted with a trademark yellow, white, and red color scheme featuring hamburgers and french fries. Viewers who watched and interacted with the lineup of McDonald's sponsored streamers playing things like kid-friendly normie games, stuff like Mario Kart, Minecraft, Overwatch, and WoW was probably about as violent as these games are going to get. Yeah, McDonald's is getting into streaming. They're getting into controller mods, but evidently the big corporate fat cat stooges at Sony had to step in and ruin everyone's fun. Sony ended up blocking the giveaway on the grounds that they never actually reached out to Sony for permission to distribute and give away Sony products for free as part of a promotional advertisement campaign. You're between big corporations, you assumed you have the money to pay people to use their property like that, and they didn't go through with that step. But this started a lot of fun, lively debates about whether or not this controller looks cool. Even here on the Dad and Sons Discord, there were people going both ways, because frankly, I absolutely positively do not understand how anyone could have thought this controller looks cool.
Yeah, no, it's garish. Would you like garish with your garnish? Because it's disgusting.
Matt, what's your take on this McDonald's controller?
It's very red.
It looks so gross.
Thank you. So we're all in agreement here.
That's
yes.
3 for 3.
We are men of taste.
That's 3 for 3.
I think my least favorite part of it is where your right hand palm goes, which is straight into the lettuce and condiments and meat of the hamburger. You know, it's not a real hamburger. It's just painted on the controller, but my brain would not be able to unsee some horrible vision of me just slopping my palm into a hamburger from the wrong angle every time I'd be playing games with that controller.
Let it stay where it was forged, in the minds of Ronald McDonald.
Yeah.
I'm curious. You guys are so weirded out because I will play Diablo 2. Like, I'm supposed to doom the entire studio just because idiots are in them? There's idiots in every fucking studio. I
think that's a fair point. I think,
like, we've talked about this many times.
I
go
back to the Last of Us leaking thing, hurting people who are hardworking, who have done nothing wrong.
Like, if it's a good game, I'm probably gonna buy it. Like,
I think for some people it's a case of until there are the changes that have been demanded by the whole staff, right? You know, they have that list of demands that they sent to the management. Until that is instigated, I think some people are kind of holding off.
And the thing is, there's idiots at every studio, but not every studio lets it get as bad as this one did.
I think this is just known about, dude. Like, this shit happens all the time. And I hear this shit and it fucking drives me nuts. But like, it's just so, like, that needs to change, you know? But like, dooming the entire studio.
Well, you're not dooming them because they're kind of sort of so big they're going to sell a zillion copies anyway.
Well, that's the point. So I'm going to buy the game. Like, I'm not going to not buy the game. So me personally not buying the game is going to change something? No, it's not. It's not. If there's some big, huge movement and we're like, we're not going to do it unless you change your stuff, like, they're not going to change their stuff. No one's going to change their shit. They're not, because you decide not to buy their game. Like, people are going to buy it. Like,
unless there is like a collective, unless there's a collective understanding.
Before.
But it does work. There was protests inside of World of Warcraft that got things changed recently. So from a collective standpoint, they protested about the quest givers and stuff that were named after Alex. What's his name? Afrasiabi.
Oh, that's an easy change. It has nothing to do with real life. People going to a studio, people getting harassed. That's fucking changing the name of somebody is just so simple compared to like actually people's like
Yes, of course. But I mean,
personalities need to be fucking
that
fixed.
change happened because fans of the game were protesting. That wasn't staff, right? So the internal stuff inside of the studio there's a lot of external pressure, but as I talked about like 2 weeks ago, it's internal pressure that needs to happen, and them walking out and doing the Blizzard walkout is a great start to that. I think you're right. I think it's not on the consumer to change these things, but there is a show of support you can give.
As a media person, too, you have a louder voice than an anonymous consumer.
I do not have a louder voice. I do not have a louder voice.
He's got a sexy voice.
You do.
Listen, if people want to, like, the thing is, the things that would actually change is exactly what you said. Like, the people there would have to like step forward and actually do something.
Pressure. Yeah, I always
and stand up because consumers are always going to buy the shit, and most people don't know this is going on. Most people don't look up this stuff.
It was in the
normies are going to buy Diablo 2.
It was in the New York Times.
And was it?
Yeah.
I still agree with the things that I talked about. I think studios don't care about external pressure. They really do not, like, for the most part. This is on a scale unlike anything else. As we've just aforementioned, there is
massive.
But there's a lot.
And everyone's leaving.
But usually external pressure. Well, the president has been ousted. It's bad, essentially.
Yeah, stuff is changing right now as we're recording.
External pressure usually doesn't work. Internal pressure has to happen. That's why we've had the Blizzard walkout. I think if there was a
but it has nothing to do with actually buying the game compared to the pressure that they're getting.
Yeah, not at this moment.
It's not about the game, and that's what I'm talking about.
I think it will happen, though. I think what I'm saying is it will happen because there are already protests from dedicated World of Warcraft players to, not play the game or not pay the subscriptions to do certain things. When Blizzard tried to release whatever their next game, right now they're not trying to release a new game. Imagine if they had a scheduled release game right
Diablo 2 is the next one.
Okay, so that'll be the first one, but that's not like an Overwatch 2 or, Diablo 4 or anything
it's huge though. And Diablo 4
huge,
as well.
Though. It's not Diablo 4 like Overwatch 2.
Coming out in a month and a half, September 21st. Do you think this is still going to be in the news when that game comes out?
Probably. This is the most stuff I've seen in a while, right?
It was on CNN.
Yeah, this is the most stuff I've seen in a while. It's probably going to be around for a few more months.
Ultimately, I think consumers can make their own choice, but as George says, and, what is it? You fight with your money or whatever,
Vote with your dollar?
Vote with your dollar, or whatever the hell that saying is.
I guess I understand. I guess I understand what you're saying.
But ultimately, you're right. I think you aren't making a difference if you don't buy the game. But if there's let's say there's a hashtag on Twitter and people are like, collectively, we're boycotting this.
If there's some huge thing, I'll join it. I don't need to play Diablo 2.
You don't need to play Diablo 2.
Quickly. I don't need to play any game, to be honest. I don't need to do anything.
The pre-order hype culture is something everyone's complained about. No one needs to buy games as soon as they come out.